not an across-the-board tough year. There was a good year for some, not a good year for others. So it just depended on what market you worked in and what price range you worked in and sort of how that market performed. So I'm here to talk about the luxury market and break it down into both Hope Ranch and Montecito. I'm going to start with Hope Ranch. Hope Ranch, I think, had a very unique year. A lot of people call it sort of the net beneficiary of what happened in Montecito. I think they got a lot of extra business and a real boost to their market there. So let's start with Hope Ranch. So if you look at Hope Ranch, if you look at the very bottom of the graph there, you're going to see that the number of sales was up 11% for the year. Pretty good. Went from 32 sales in 2017 to 36 sales in 2018. So an increase of 4 sales, which doesn't sound that much, but in Hope Ranch, percentage-wise, it's a decent amount there. So, but if you look at it and you break it down into the $5 million and less, which is most of Hope Ranch, there was actually less sales in 2018 than there was the year before. So it wasn't really an across-the-board booming year for Hope Ranch. It was really a booming year for the highest end of the market. If you start to look down into the lower portion of the graph there, the $5 million to $10 million, okay, went from 2 sales to 7 sales. Again, not a big number-wise, but percentage-wise, up 250%. Big jump. You go to 10 million or above, went from 2 sales to 5 sales, up 150%. So again, the highest end of the market completely outperformed the rest of the market, Hope Ranch. If you break it down, 5 million less, it was actually sort of a down year and fairly flat. But if you go to look at the expensive properties in Hope Ranch, it was a booming year. So good in terms of number of sales there. What happened with prices in Hope Ranch? Booming year for both median and average price, really very strong in Hope Ranch in 2018. Median price went from $2,650 to $3,645, increase of 38%. That's a big jump there. Average price, okay, you can say, well, there's a few big sales. Those are going to help the average quite a bit. And they did. They helped at 38% from 3.6 million to just under 5 million. But the median, again, 38%, that's a big jump there for that. So I think that a lot of people, and I asked Keith Berry for some help with this, and he said that there was 8 of those transactions were somehow directly or indirectly affected by the debris flow in Montecito. And those people either came from Montecito or crossed Montecito off where they were considering buying to go to Hope Ranch. So again, they were definitely a net beneficiary of what had happened in Montecito during 2018. The largest sale in Hope Ranch in 2018, 1520 Roble. I see Bridget and Paul smiling. That was their sale there. Marsha was the listing agent. And we hear a lot about this mass exodus of wealthy people from California. They're leaving California. The taxes are too high. The political climate's not right. They're leaving, and they're leaving for Texas. This was a reversal. These people came from Texas, and they came to California, and they bought, and this is going to be their primary residence. So definitely sort of a reversal of the trend from what we've been seeing of wealthy people leaving the state. This is something coming from Texas to California. So what did you get for $16.77 million in Hope Ranch for 2018? About 8,000 square feet of fabulous Reginald Johnson 1920s architecture, 9 acres on 3 parcels, nice ocean views, lots of outbuildings, and just a really old world charm, elegant estate. So congratulations, you guys, on a really wonderful top sale in Hope Ranch during 2018. Moving forward to Montecito. Montecito was not the net beneficiary. If you look down at the very bottom there, number of sales down 25% compared to 2017 for Montecito. Start at the very top there and start looking at the under $2 million, which is not the biggest portion of the market, but it's a big portion of the market. Down 16%, not that significant, but as you start to go in the $2 to $6 million range, that's where you see really hard hit. The number of sales in the $2 to $4 million range, down 36%. And that's sort of the largest price range in Montecito in terms of activity. Go down a little further to $4 to $6 million, down 45%. Just not a lot of people looking, not a lot of sales there. Go a little further down, 6 to 10 million starts to firm up. It's down 19%, but again, that's only 3 sales more or less than was the year before, so not that significant. But what happens when you go down to the very last, the 10 million and up? 10 million and up saw an increase of 400%. Went from 2 sales in 2017, which is a fairly normal year, up to 10 sales in 2018. So a booming year for the 10 million and up market there. Hard to explain because, again, it's, the rest of Montecito didn't do very well. We certainly had our share of, bad news there. But for the high-end market, we had the second largest sale ever in Montecito history in 2018. And right on its heels, we had the third largest sale ever in Montecito in 2018. So again, people with money, they weren't afraid to come to Montecito. What happened to prices though? So the median price went down like you'd expect, a decrease in activity, decline in prices. You're going to see a decrease in the median price. It went down from $2.7 million to just under $2.5 million, so decrease of about 8%. Pretty expected. But if you go down to the average price there, boom, $3.1 million to $3.7 million, increase in 18%. Again, big decrease in number of sales in Montecito, but a huge increase in average price there. How do you explain that? 10 sales above $10 million. That'll boost your average price quite a bit. And so the $35 million sale, what did you get for $35 million in Montecito? Something pretty fabulous, I'll tell you that. So 22,000 square feet on 9 acres with your own lake / reflecting pool / fountain. Next door neighbor to Oprah. All kinds of outbuildings, tennis courts, just all kinds of bells and whistles. Los Angeles-based buyer, so fairly local, not out of state, but fairly local buyer there. So that's what you get for the largest sale, $35 million on East Valley Road next to Oprah. Second largest sale, just on its heels, $34 million, Ellen's property up on Hidden Valley Lane. Similar in terms of acreage and amenities there, large property, big ocean view, big, 1916-ish estate there, with a lot of nice guest amenities and all. So lots of nice amenities for $34 and $35 million in Montecito. So talking about prices there, what about, we saw that there was a, decline in the number of sales, and a fairly marked decline of about 25%. Was that caused by the debris flow and the fires? I'm going to take the argument that it wasn't. I feel like the drop in sales in Montecito had 2 other answers that weren't related to the fire and the floods. Now people say, well, if there was this massive event there, surely that had some effect on prices and buyer demand and values, and it did, no question. But there's 2 sides to everything. Right after the debris flow, I got phone calls from both buyers and sellers, and lots of them, and you couldn't have asked for more polarization in terms of what their opinions were, in terms of what this was going to mean to the market. And I think their opinions were all sort of guided by their own self-interest. If they were a buyer, they felt like this was the best thing that ever happened. Prices were going to come down. Montecito was going to be on sale. It was tarnished. There was people that were going to be fleeing, and so it was going to be a great time to buy. That's what the buyers all felt. Sellers, complete 180-degree opposite. They felt like this is the best thing that ever happened to them. There's 400 plus less homes on the market. There's 400 families that need a place to live. There's going to be a tremendous increase in demand. Well, there was in the rental market. That went up right away, immediately, and went up significantly. But the selling market, no, I think they were pretty unchanged. I think both the buyers and the sellers were both right in that there was some validity to what they had to say. But I think that the net effect was close to a break even. So how do you explain the fairly significant drop in number of sales during the year. I put it on two different things. One that's fairly easy to say, which is the tax change, which disallowed the mortgage deductibility of property taxes above a certain point. Higher you go in value, the more impact it has. But below $1 million, no real impact. As you start to go above it, more impact. The higher you go, the more impact that you have. I think Montecito and a lot of high-end places in California suffered from that. But I think the other thing, which is something that, again, it's more anecdotal, but I feel like there's been a significant drop in the number of families coming to Montecito that are looking for Montecito Union School District. That has been historically sort of 50% of our buyers, but I did on a graph there, and you'll see the enrollment change in Montecito starting in 2012, gone down pretty much every single year. I'm going to go back and forth here with the last slide for a minute, just so you can see how they match up almost identically. Number of sales, Montecito school enrollment there. So don't know exactly why, but there's definitely been a significant drop-off in buyer demand for the school district there, and I account that for a lot of what's happened with our school district. I see our time is up. I know we've got a lot of speakers, so thank you for having me speak today.